Okay, no pressure. Goat story. Aunt Cecil, you're on.
Okay. I was taking the goat to the auction, and his name was Napoleon. And I put him in the back of the truck. I coaxed him with a pan of food and put him in the back of the truck. And I came up to get my purse. And as I was going down through the yard, boom, he hit the truck, the tailgate, and it went down, and he came after me. So I ran, left my purse in the middle of the yard, tried to get in the truck, but he was right there, and I couldn't get in the truck, so I closed the door enough that I was between him and the door and the goat. And then after that, I don't know what happened. The next thing I knew, I was crawling under the truck to escape him. Evidently, I'd been out for some time. He knocked me out. I had a big cut on my head. The blood was running down around my ear. Bill thought I had my throat cut. The blood was running down around my ear and down around my neck. So finally, he ran over to the nanny goat in the field, and I ran up the house and told him, "Napoleon's loose." No, I said, "Did you hear me screaming for you?" Because I was screaming for help, and nobody came. So then I came up here. Bill was watching the news, and I said, "Didn't you hear me screaming for you?" No, he hadn't heard me. So he ran down there, and I came in to get the washcloth to put on my head, and I went back out. He was down in the field with the goat, and he had the goat tackled. He was laying in the field with the goat's back to him, with his legs around the bottom part of the goat, and holding a front leg and a horn. And he didn't dare let go because the goat would have killed him. So he's laying in the field, and an older couple came down the road, and they saw him laying in the field, and they thought he'd had a heart attack. They didn't see the goat. They came over, and then they saw the goat. And they asked if they could do anything to help. They came into the field just when I was walking down. And Bill asked them to call the police. So they called the police. And the police came, and the policeman started laughing. He said he'd never seen a man on a goat before. And the goat was bad. And so the policeman held the phone to the goat so they could hear back at the station it really wasn't good. So finally, then the neighbor came over. Merle had heard me screaming, but he looked over and he didn't see anything. He said he saw the goats in the field, and there was nobody around, because I guess I was under the truck at that point. And so Merle, between the man and Merle and Bill, he sent me to get the rope. He said, "Go up on the porch and get a rope." I saw a rope laying up there, so I came up and got it. And they tied the goat's feet together, his front feet together, and made the, whatever you call the knots, and tied his hind feet. And he told me to come get the truck. I took the truck down and backed it up almost to them, and they got the truck and the goat in the back of the truck. And I was going to take him to the auction. And Jennifer showed up just then, and she said, "Mom, I don't think you need to take the goat to the auction. I think you need to go to the hospital." So then that's what we decided to do. Bill would take me to the hospital, and she would take the goat to the auction. So he took me to the hospital, and she followed us over to make sure I was all right before she went on the auction, and the nurses were laughing when I said I was attacked by a goat. They said they never had a patient that was attacked by a goat. She said, "I thought goat was a little thing." I said, "He's pretty big." So Jennifer said, "You want to see him? I have him in the truck." So 3 nurses left the emergency room and went out to see the goat. And anyway, so they kept me there to make sure I was going to be all right. And I got 3 staples in my head. And Jennifer took the goat to the auction. And by then he had his feet loose. But she said they opened the tailgate and let him go. But he weighed 112 pounds. They weighed him on the scale. He weighed 112 pounds, so he was a big fella.
So how much did you get for the goat?
It was over $100. I was shocked.
Did he end up in a pot?
I don't know what happened to him. I didn't care what happened to him. I just didn't, because he tried to get me a couple times before, and he was only 8 months old.
And how old were you?
How old was I?
Uh-huh.
I was 76. The reason I remember is because I read about this 76-year-old lady that got attacked by the goat. That's why I remember how old I was.
And you should always check with your physician before taking up goat wrestling to see if you're in good health to pursue this activity.
And everybody talks about the goat wrestling. That's what they call me. And recently, I shot a rabid raccoon, and we were talking about that. Out, Merc. Out! And so the girl said she never watches reality shows, but she said she'd like to follow me around for a month with the camera. Because I was telling about this rabid raccoon. I went out at 8 o'clock in the morning. The dog was carrying one. I opened the door. There's a raccoon sitting on the top step. So I opened the door and she went flying out. And then he ran out in the yard. And but he was like, trying to attack her, but she was circling around and trying to stay between the raccoon and me. So I went up and got my gun, and they came down, and they, chased each other all the way down through the yard, and there was a truck kept sitting down by the driveway. So I couldn't get a shot at it because I didn't want to shoot the dog. So finally we got down by the truck cap. I had her by one hand. She's trying to get in her, and the raccoon's trying to get her. So, but I shot it 4 times because I had her. And so then I called the police first, and they said no, they don't do that. Call the game commission. So I called them, and they didn't want to come out. They said, "Want to know if I contacted it, had contact, or the dog?" And I said, "No, I didn't think so, but send somebody out because I'm sure this thing is rabid." And so finally, she sent somebody out. About an hour later, I got a knock on the door, and she told me keep it cool and dry. I said, I'm not putting that thing in my refrigerator. So the policeman came, or the guy from the game warden
Get out of
came,
there.
and he said, "How many times did you shoot it?" And I said, "I think I hit it I shot 4 times. I don't know if I hit it every time. Because I'm holding the dog and trying to shoot." And
What kind of gun was it?
Colt 22.
Grandma,
Yes.
one of the dogs pooped on the floor and started scattering it into the carpet.
Where?
Follow me. No wonder.
So anyway, he put his big gloves on and he pulled the raccoon out and he said, "Well, it has 4 shots. 1 in the leg, 1 in the other foot, 1 in the stomach, and 1 in the neck." He said he was glad I didn't hit it in the head because if I destroyed the brain, they couldn't test it.
Uh-huh.
And they called a couple of days later and said it was rabid. And I guess that would have been a funny one. But so somebody said something about messing with me, and Mickey said, "Oh, don't mess with her. She packs."
that's something many